say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's play ball.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell who wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right. Good morning, everybody. Late morning. Sorry about it. Had a lot happening this morning. I got nailed by the old update monsters again. I thought I had it turned off. It probably turned itself back on because that's just what it does. And as you can see, my graphics a little bit different this morning because I got hit and I lost a few things. I was also adding a new option so that I can start putting comments up on the screen. It's something that I've been working on for a little bit. It just took a lot of coding, and we're going to make it happen. So won't be able to do it today. I'm hoping to get it rolling, everything before the season. But I'm just going to hedge bets right now. How long do you think it takes before someone copies doing the Star Spangled Banner before a Lions show or before the Lions kickoff that is in this space? I'm just putting it out there. It's like the pot calling the kettle black at this point. And by the way, like I said yesterday, I had to handle some legal things, so I'm fully prepared and I'm ready to attack. There might be or may not be an opportunity later for you guys to hear some things as to what has been bothering me for a while. I'm not like every Joe Blow out there that's just going to air out, all my dirty laundry. I mean, someone's been good enough doing it, but they've been pointing all their fingers at me when it's really them. And I'll explain because I have stacks on stacks on stacks.
Stacking.
Of data. And it's not even funny anymore. So I've heard that there's been more things said about me recently. Look, I don't watch other channels. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I don't have the time for it. Quite honestly, I don't even like what anyone else says for the most part. There's a few good ones out there. There's a few good publications out there and some really good beat writers. And those of you that know who I listen to, I mean, like I listen to high quality people that know football that, don't give me noise. I don't want noise. This is not a performative. This is not an act. I'm not an actor. I'm not a rage baiter. I'm not a clickbaiter. I'm simply just a 29-year Lions loyal member, by the way, that started to do this for a few reasons. One, I wanted to be able to give back to the community with just good, wholesome content because I was so sick of the toxic stuff. And as I explained, like growing up, it was a lot of the, Carlos Menares type, the Rob Parker types, some on a morning show, radio show that seems to always be negative for the most part. And even, throughout the day on another channel that or another show that has always been negative for a long time. So I started doing this because I simply wanted to do that. In the year before I started, I was joined some other podcasts and did some, interviews with some former players like Glover Quinn and some of the others. And I really enjoyed it. And I didn't know why, I really didn't start it during COVID, because if I would have started it during then, it would be much different today. When people claim that they're the best of the best, just remember that when you start right around the time that Dan Campbell, started, that was a transition point. And during COVID, like, no one had anything else to do but watch YouTube. So there's a reason why some channels are certain areas and some are not. And then there's the other side of that: the harassment, the cyberbullying, the cyberstalking, the defamation, the slander. And I have 2 giant envelopes sitting over there full of legal paperwork that are going to get filed now. And I didn't want to do it, but I'm doing it. Someone's already been served, and that individual has shut the hell up. That individual stopped all the bullshit on Twitter. And so now we know who it is, right? Because it all stopped. And plus we have the option of getting all the information from all of their data, their emails, their cell phones, everything. And in that first filing, there was 11 other individuals named. And I didn't ask the judge to decide on defamation and slander right then, because he can't. But those individuals were named. And so they're in that filing that was filed over months ago. And so I'm done playing games. I'm done playing games. Now, I'm not going to continue to do this. There's a certain individual that said, well, I'm not going to do this very much on my channel, and this is not what it's all about. 15 videos later and 15 live streams later, it's still continuing. I don't know why I live rent-free in this dude's head, but you've pushed my back up against the wall now, and now I'm coming. I'm coming legally. Like it's not, this isn't, I'm from the streets and da-da-da. No, dude. Like, I'm an adult. I'm 46. And if you want to play adult games, you're going to win adult prizes. It's that simple. So open your mouth, keep running it. All you're doing is digging your grave deeper, man. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. And you may not understand that. Maybe you should go spend 10 grand to get a lawyer and understand what you're doing. You violated every YouTube violation possible. And so that's the most important thing. Let me just read a couple. And I'm going to walk away from this here in just a minute, because I don't want to spend my day. I don't want to spend my time. I don't want to spend any of this doing this. But very simply, my attorney sent me this a while ago and said, on YouTube, like, cyberbullying and harassment is more than simply just criticizing another creator. YouTube allows disagreement, commentary, criticism, satire, and even fairly harsh opinions. We understand that. Like, that you have your right of, freedom of speech. But there's a line when freedom of speech crosses, into this black area of the no-fly zone of slander and defamation and just saying things that are not true, that you could never prove that are true, ever, because they don't exist. It's not possible. So the line starts to get crossed when that content becomes targeted abuse of an identifiable person. That's me. Or an identifiable brand. Rocked On Detroit Lions. Identifiable brand, Rocked On Podcast Network. Identifiable brand, Rocked On Cancer Foundation. Identifiable brand, DFJ Sports. Those are all brands, and those are all me. Particularly when it's repeated, personal, it's personal, threatening. There's been threats, there's been physical abuse threats and other things. And invasive. It's invasive to me, and it's invasive to others. Or when it's designed to mobilize or incite an audience against them. And there is numerous instances of inciting violence, inciting harassment, inciting people to unsubscribe, inciting people to report to the feds. Inciting all sorts of things. You've crossed 15 lines already. We got about 30 more. Things that YouTube specifically identifies as potential violations include repeated targeting, insulting, or abusing the same identifiable person, particularly across multiple uploads. Well, we have all those uploads. Yesterday, I coded and copied every single transcript of every single video for 3 years. Sorry. Prolonged malicious insults about someone's physical characteristics. Remember this one? Remember doing this one? Calling me names, making fun of my cancer, and things of that nature. There's a rule broken. Threatening the person or their property, including some implied threats. There's been implied threats. Doxing, publishing, or threatening to publish non-public information. We've heard numerous times, I have receipts. I have all this information. I have people with information. You don't. You don't. Okay? The only thing anyone would ever have between me and this individual are text messages. And by the way, the text messages and the voice notes that I have that talk shit about every other creator in the space, that's what I have. Including Woodward, including Lionstalk Live, including a whole bunch of other places that this individual is trashed, including Sports Talk Detroit or Sports Detroit Talk, whatever the hell they are. So I have all that too. And when it gets released, then what? Right? Happened to catch a little Twitter crap going on yesterday where someone else was called a thief. Let's just put this out there. Who started giving away flags for the Lions flags? Who started giving those away last year? How many did I give away? 50? 30? I don't know. Did I ask anybody to pay for shipping? Nope. Paid for everything. 100%. Helmets. Mini helmets. Who started giving away mini helmets first? Not that I'm the only person that's ever done it. Not that I'm the person that ever started that in a football content creation world. But in the Detroit Lions space, I was the first one because I went to Sports Zone. I bought 50 mini helmets, $4,000 worth of mini helmets, and gave them away. Gave them away, right? We did all sorts of stuff with it. We didn't just give them away to members, gave them away to everybody, anybody and everybody that wanted to compete. And just because I saw cool comments and gave them away, but I never asked anybody to pay for shipping. I never asked anybody to do anything. I gave them away. Doxing. I was accused of doxing. I've never doxed anybody anything. And by the way, everyone's information is public. If you don't know by now, I can go on various background report checking things and get all sorts of information. But if you dox that information, then that's a problem, right? You can't do that. That's why you have to sign and agree to all sorts of things that you won't release that information to the public. What is publicly available are things that are already out there that any Joe Blow can go get. Brigading is another one. Telling or encouraging viewers to attack, harass, spam, intimidate, or abuse another person or channel. Check mark there. Stalking or threatening behavior. Simply said that watching my content every single day and then utilizing that content to then put it up on other places to make fun of me or like on Twitter or other places. Unwanted sexualization. Nope, that one didn't count. Mocking or celebrating someone's death or serious injury. Well, cancer is a serious injury, right? Someone's weight, someone's physical features, that turns into cyberbullying. And we have video record of that being done and audio. Persistent inciting hostility between creators for financial gain. You left monetization on. That is now financial gain. So, which YouTube specifically says can result in penalties, even in some circumstances, beyond just one single video's content. And see, what happens is when you have 15 videos or live streams that include this information, you've now violated more than 3 times. That means that channel can be completely wiped out and deleted. That's exactly why I haven't done anything. I didn't want that to happen. But now the gloves are off. And if it happens, it's not my fault. I didn't ask for it. I didn't do it. It's the same reason why I didn't go after a former co-host that lived in another country, because I didn't want to ruin that individual's opportunity at getting a visa. But no, that individual still ran his mouth and said a whole bunch of lies. There's so much stuff there that I have proof and record of. The problem is when loud, obnoxious people want to run their mouth and just say a whole bunch of crap that isn't true. And see, when I don't really defend it, well, they might think it's true. That's not how the world works. You see, smart people don't run to defend themselves when they already know it's not true. See, they're going to have a very hard threshold to cross when it comes to proof because they don't have any, because it doesn't exist. Simply saying, if someone says, well, you stole my color, you stole my font. buddy, let me explain something. There's not one color or one font that is copyright protected or trademarked. It's not possible. And if you go back to the very early days of my channel, I always used it. And matter of fact, I'm the one that told this individual there's 3 main colors that are very popular on YouTube that generally get the best views: yellow, red, bright neon green. Those were the ones, or white, depending on your background. And I always used them. And I've always been playing with my thumbnails constantly to make sure I get something right, so I can finally get to a point where I feel comfortable with it, and those are going to be the ones that I use from now on. And I still change stuff up today, just because YouTube changes, the algorithm changes, everything changes. In a nutshell, saying something like, "Well, I think Rock's analysis of this Lions roster is completely wrong, and here's why." That's criticism, right? I do that all the time about other writers. And I'll say, I don't agree with it. I think it's criticism. I think it's wrong. I think they got it wrong. But then saying something like, Rock is an idiot, or Rock is a punk, or Rock is a bum, or Rock is a grifter, or Rock is a thief, or, everybody go tell this guy what you think. That now crosses the line of directing viewers to do something. Now, I'm not saying those are direct quotes, because they're not. I'm giving examples. The direct quotes are going to be saved for the court filing. So one particular event, on YouTube is one thing. Multiple is another. Now, like I said earlier this morning to some other people, I wasn't going to address this today. I was going to address it later. And I probably still will. You see, I've been putting together a whole bunch of evidence for a long time now. And I've been storing all that information. But there is an individual that was a previous volunteer co-host on this channel. And when that individual was told to no longer be, well, that individual also talks shit about every other channel out there. And I have it in text message form, right? I have it. Matter of fact, the one that they're on now, they talk shit about. The one that they befriended after they left this one, they talk shit about. It's hilarious to me that these two-faced backstabbing people out there, just like the one prior co-host to that, or on his own channel on my network, that then befriended this other individual, started a channel, I believe the date was September 19th, but then told everybody here that, I got to take a job. He didn't work for 3 years. He was surviving on his wife's income, what he said. So he said he had to take, I understood, got to take a job, got to do what you got to do, man. If you ain't got time for it, you ain't got time for it. But then tried to say like I kicked him off and didn't let him do something. No. I told you when it was going to end after that point. It's my channel, and if I don't trust you now, because I found out that you created a channel on September 19th, way into what you were still under contract, right? You started a channel on September 19th and then tried to say like you didn't have time for it. And then even said that on this other person's stream about me, about that whole thing with Rock Down Cancer Foundation. And I went in and wrote tons of messages proving it all wrong. Well, they deleted all those messages, right? But I screenshotted all of them. So I have them all. So the point is, y'all, there is no drama in this space unless it's created. There is zero drama. I don't watch that dude's shit. I think I don't like it. I think it's performative theater. And the real reason why that individual was no longer a part of this morning show is because, and I have text messages that I could go through, and that's not doxing because I'm party of the text messages, so I can release them. And I can release the voice messages because I'm party to the conversation. Learn Michigan law. The point is that when I was rated as a #1 mornings Lions show by some other Twitter account that was just doing something fun for Lions fans, I believe that this individual may have taken offense to that, right? And then slowly just disappeared. And then when I upgraded all my equipment, took offense to that. And you could tell by the anger or the purported anger or assumed anger in the text messages or the way that the individuals behave. And so then that information kind of led to me thinking, okay, this individual really doesn't want to be on this show, and then doesn't show up, not doing any work. And by the way, that channel had like 253 subscribers the last time that person was on. So to claim that you did all the work, you didn't do any thumbnails, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything behind the scenes. And no, I didn't know how to give anybody access back then. I didn't quite understand, I was still very new into doing a lot of this. And there was no contract in place at that time. So I needed to have a contract that individual had for, 2 months. and then all of a sudden wanted to sign it on some random day way later when that person was pretty much already gone. But I have all the text messages telling me, things like, well, good luck with that. When I said, hey, morning show is rated number 1, for Lions fans right now. And, oh, well, good luck with that. What does that imply? But then you don't show up, and you don't show up, and you don't show up, and you don't show up. It was 2 days a week at that time. And that's when Eric came in, just to fill in, and then stuck because that individual didn't show up anymore. So there's a lot of lies, y'all. And to be honest with you, there is no drama unless it's created. I didn't create it. What I will do, what I've always done, is I have always stayed true to who I am. Transparency and honesty are the most important thing to me. In Lions media or any media, we have lost our way in this country. It is nothing but abusive, angry, toxic, rage bait, clickbait media just to get views because that's how people get paid. If you didn't get paid for views, it wouldn't probably be that way. Putting out a title, that says, like, my titles are sometimes not as catchy, but then you have to be a little bit more catchy to get people to click because people are now ingrained to clickbait. Like that's what they draw to. They draw to the negative media. They draw to people that continually lie to them, right? And make things up or fabricate things. And they always get it wrong. And then they still flock back to it like it's no big deal. That I'm telling you, that's like having an abusive boyfriend that you just can't leave, or an abusive girlfriend that you just can't leave for whatever reason. It'll never make sense to me. So negativity apparently pays better, and the few angry, loud voices are more vocal than the people that actually care about this team. Like I said, I've been a Lions loyal member for 29 years. I didn't just start this shit yesterday. I've been doing stuff behind the scenes for a very long time. When I was on Facebook, I did stuff for years. Never did podcasts, never went on shows, had constant invites. Finally started to do that in 2022. Should have done it in 2020, but what was I dealing with back then? Broken neck and back in November of 2020. Rehabbing from that, right? And then Ovid hits. Tried to manage through all that. Have my lady dealing with it on the front lines each and every day. I didn't have time for anything else. And I wasn't, just in some, little job or anything like that. I mean, I was doing things at the C-suite level. I was very active. I didn't have time for anything else. I would have loved to back then, and quite honestly, who knows where I'd be right now if I would have started. But right now, someone is intentionally trying to injure this channel, and I'm not going to let it stand anymore because I've had enough. And if you're going to continue to try to injure my channel, which you tried to do, and you've told these people all these things that are not true, well, the day is going to come when you're going to have to tell the truth. So last and final warning, knock the shit off. Just knock it off. Nobody cares about you. Nobody. I certainly don't. So knock it off, man. Go hide in your hole. Do your thing. I don't want your shit. Don't care about it. But if things are going to be said that are not accurate and not correct, I'm going to correct it. And I don't care who says it. So that's who I am. That's what I do. It just sucks that, I get a lot of stuff right because I put in the work. I get a lot of stuff right because I have connections. I get a lot of stuff right because I know the freaking game. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the game out there. There's millions of people smarter than me. Billions, probably. But in this space, at this moment, I've gotten a very good track record of getting things right. But I find it hilarious that, I find this stuff on Twitter yesterday of someone else being, called a thief. Ain't that the kettle, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? So I'm going to ask, what happened to the shipping money then? I don't even know the whole story. What happened to it? Did anyone get refunded? Maybe we should investigate that. But see, I never try to make a dollar on anybody. What I try to do is help others. That's what I try to do here. And because I'm growing and because I'm doing a lot more things than just doing some videos or a live stream in performative theater, someone's taking offense to that because their number one thing is they're worried about not being first. Look, I don't care if I have 150,000 subscribers or 1 million. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. What matters is the content. What matters is trying to give the fans something to care about and belong to and build your community. But if you want to build a community on hate, that's not anything I want to be a part of. And quite honestly, that stuff started to happen very early. And I would send emails that I would get and other messages that I would get to this individual like, dude, these people are saying this stuff about you. You know, it started way back when in 2020, early 2024. I mean, I was getting messages like, oh my God, this dude is just begging for this and begging for that. And I just find it funny. It's like, it's so contradictive that people call themselves the best of the best. I'm number one. I'm the best Lions creator in the world. And yet we're apparently begging people for things. It doesn't make sense to me. So I get messages like that from people. People tell me that kind of stuff. I don't care. But I would take a long, hard look inside yourself and look what you've done to every other creator. And by the way, when that previous the morning show started, someone, and we know who it is, someone reported it for impersonation. Like 2 or 3 or 4 days, whatever it was, right after the show started. And so the channel completely disappeared for about 12 to 24 hours. And then I got it back. Now, impersonation does not happen by YouTube unless someone files a complaint. So how coincidental that at that same time, this same individual that was on that morning show didn't want to do it. Felt strongly that all of a sudden they didn't have time, didn't want to do it. And if you don't think that stuff's not discoverable, it is. Everything that is done on YouTube is tracked. And it's tracked for a minimum of 3 years and typically up to 7 years. They keep everything. So to say that I doxed somebody, that would be discoverable. And so if you make those claims and we find out that I didn't do it, which I know I didn't, what happens then? That is an intent to injure. That is defamation. That is slander. You put yourself in your own box, man. It's time to grow up. Now it's time to move on. Let's get into it.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell who wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
Yeah, Kevin. There's one out there, and then obviously there's one in the greater confines of Detroit. So I apologize that y'all had to deal with that, but you know, last night I had to waste a lot of my time again, and I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. You don't deserve this. This is not Lions content. This is not what I'm here to do, right? Yes, I absolutely had cancer. I've proven it multiple times. And for anyone to make fun of that, that is the lowest grade human in the world for someone to make fun of that. And then to have the audacity to act like you're donating to some fund. Like, come on, man. You look at the record, everything that I've done, the clock, 2 days later pops up on their channel, right? The breaking news intro that I did it, have the messages, and then a couple of days later, they do it. Everything that I've done, they have followed, but yet they turn around and say that I'm the one copying them. It's the other way around, right? Any graphic that is on Canva, any graphic that is on Adobe, any graphic that is on any other, site that you use, those are all free public domain things to use if you pay for it, right? That doesn't mean you're copying someone. Someone else made that graphic. You used it. You're copying then, right? I mean, that's how it works. I create almost all of my graphics, almost probably 95%. And only recently has it been a little bit less because AI helps with some things. I'll just show you real quick. I assume that I can show this. Like, there's got to be a way I can show this. Where is that at? Where is that at? I think it's right here. Aha, I can show it. All right. So you probably don't know what you're looking at right now, but this is my Canva account. Okay. And it's pretty tough to show everything. Let me see if I can make this look a little better. That didn't help. So this is my Canva account. I can't scroll left or right, apparently. But these are just all boxes of content like this one. This has like all of the different things. You know, these are all hyperlinks to go in for all of my assets and things that I use daily, weekly, monthly. Right? When I click into one of these, there's a hyperlink. It brings me into the next one. I create all of this stuff. All of it. There's nothing that I do. I don't copy people. 100% of what I do is created. What's funny is a lot of people are taking what I do and repurposing it and using it. But I can keep on going, man. There's over 10,000 graphics that I have created in here. 10,000. Like this one is going to be used during the season. Here, let me give you a quick look. And I'm not even done with it. But after every game, I'm going to have a graphic that talks about, you know, every player, the best and the worst players of the game. So there you go. Let's see how quickly someone steals that idea. Because nobody else is doing it right now. But everything that I do is 100% on me. Now, with that being said, there was a graphic that was shared, that was uploaded to my channel that someone else had access to, and it was quickly changed. I didn't create that. But when I was gone at a Seattle game, I had someone help me upload a post-game show. Anyway, done with this. I want to talk about today's 7-on-7. That's where I really wanted to get. You know, let's just put this out there. This will be the last thing I say. I'm just going to say, just look at somebody's background. Just look at somebody's background. And what does it look like? Here, I can probably show you. You want to talk about impersonation? And actually I have a message that also goes with this. That is more evidence of impersonation and you know, saying that you know, I'm impersonating or copying somebody else. Well, if that were the case, YouTube would have done something about it a long time ago. I'd have never done that. But if you go back and look at Tim Twentyman's, where is it? It's got to be in here somewhere. Where's his old podcast at? Where is Tim Twentyman? It's not Lions Daily, is it? No, what is it? Is it Under the Helmet? What is Tim Twentyman's podcast? Like during the season, you know how he interviews players and coaches and that during the season? I'm trying to find the old. Here we go. Here's podcast. Looking right at it. Let me mute this real quick because I don't want. Sorry, something has gone wrong with the video. Oh, you know what? My blocker's on. Oh, that or they got rid of it. Maybe they purged it. Man, I've had nothing but issues on their site. Like, is anything even playing? It's playing, but it's not showing me video. I'll find it later. I don't know why this is so difficult to find right now. But if you go look at Tim Twentyman's background, where they just recently changed it over the last year or so, maybe the last 6 months, they've changed it. I think it's more of a dark, I think it's more of a black background. But it had that red brick background with that lion in the middle of it, and then it had on the side it had the lion stack in the corner. So that background has been impersonated by somebody else. And I have a message that says, I intentionally did that. So, pot calling the kettle black, y'all. Sorry. I can't help but be pissed off about it. All right, let's get into tomorrow, man. Tomorrow's a big day for a lot of rookies. Oh, one more thing. I was never involved in a fight. Like I seen there was some rumor flying around that a white and a black guy got in a fight at Antelope Park. That didn't involve me. I didn't hear or see anything while I was there. But I was there from almost the very beginning. I was a few minutes late and stayed till the very end, and then went to Ford Field. But yeah, it wasn't me. So what I think that is someone using fake accounts to pump things up, again, to have more talking points, and again, under threat of things that individuals have said, like implied threats, right? Once again, you stepped into a pile of dog shit. I think Alex Anzalone said it best.
Everyone wants to be a dog until you got to do some dog shit.
There you go. All right. Ankle injury for Rakestraw. That is great. Great news. Let me see if I can get the update before we jump into 7-on-7. Oh, by the way, yesterday, the player that I thought that the Lions would make the most sense in sign, the Lions did sign Hernandez. And so yesterday when we were talking about that last night, I thought I saw somewhere last night that they ended up signing him. I don't know if it's beneficial. I don't even really know if it's been done, but I thought I saw it somewhere yesterday that he was signed. Let me know if you've seen it. I haven't looked at any of the transactions, and honestly, the transactions won't pop up until today anyway. It usually takes a day. But that one would probably make the most sense. He's younger. He still has, something left. I mean, obviously, hasn't had the last, couple of seasons go well for him, but he's moldable, right? He's still moldable. And I think that's the most important thing when you bring in a player like that you're trying to put into a situation right away, competing for a spot, potentially making this roster. He's still moldable. I don't see it for some reason. I did see yesterday Pride of Detroit put out their roster hints. I'm just now going through it right now. And so they kind of said the same thing that I said the other day, when I put out a couple articles about it on, I think, the 19th, and one video on it. But the thing about Dave Phipp is those are absolutely, like he calls it, roster hints. And I think they're a little bit more than hints. I think that Tom Kennedy, like I said last night, has a real opportunity to make this roster. And that is baffling to me. It's baffling. So that means that if that happens, maybe the Lions are going to keep 6. And even then, who are we losing? Like who's not making this roster is the biggest question mark that I have. But I'll just give you the headlines out of his article. You can't just be a good special teamer, right? We talked about that. Linebackers are valued highly on special teams. We talked about that, but you have to be able to play defense. And no rookies on punt teams. I thought that was hilarious by Dave Phipp, but Belichick is the one that had that rule. No rookies, because you don't want a mistake. You have a mistake on a punt, that's devastating. Because especially if you're if you're backed up. Return man candidates. When he mentioned Tom Kennedy and Greg Dortch and even Dominic Lovett fitting into that a little bit, that's where my ears perked up. Like, is Tom Kennedy actually going to make a roster? Is this year the Dan Skipper year for Tom Kennedy? What do you think? It might be. It might be. Those are his main highlights. All right, I don't really see any major news popping out. Not a whole lot happening other than Rakestraw. So let me get the Rakestraw update. That might be the best of the worst situations when you only have an ankle injury. So it was confirmed that he's dealing with the ankle injury that was suffered yesterday. Not expected to be serious. So he's like a cat right now with 9 lives. He's already gone through what, 2, 3 already this year? 3 of his lives. So he had the shoulder injury, he had the ankle injury. And then I thought he had something else happen very early. But if you go back throughout his career now, he's probably on his 5th, 6th. So he's still hanging in there, man. He may not play on Saturday, which it'd probably be a good thing. Hopefully it's not anything more serious than just a twisted ankle. But those can be painful, man. They can still puff up and bruise, and it's very difficult to cut, implant, and change directions when your ankle doesn't want to work with you. Holy cow. It's got 60 messages. Is my phone off? That would explain some things. All right. Nothing else new. All right, let's get into, I'm going to reset. Let's get into today's 7 on 7.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right, 7 on 7. It is our weekly tradition to talk about the players coming up in this game that I feel are the most important to watch. Now, it was really hard to get down to 7 on offense and 7 on defense. So we have a few bonuses today, and we're going to talk about it. It's probably going to take at least an hour to get through, so we're going to run this through probably the 12 o'clock hour today. Now, last week, we got our first evaluation against Cincinnati. Some starters will play. We don't know exactly who, but Washington is a different animal, right? They're a different animal, different defense, different offense. This is going to be a great test Jared Goff will not play. You guys know that. Josh Dobbs is going to get to start, and several other players competing for roster spots are running out of time, man. They're running out of opportunities before the final cut day, down to 53. So Dan Campbell wants to see some major growth. You know how he always does the trajectory thing. He does the stock symbol up. He wants to see that tomorrow. Mistakes from Cincinnati can't keep showing up for both the offense and the defense. The quarterback, the center, the wide receivers all have legitimate questions to answer. And I have several receivers on the list today. So here are my 7 players to watch. We're going to start on offense with Juice Scruggs. Now, Juice Scruggs was supposed to be part of Detroit's answer when Cade Mays suffered his wrist injury. Initially, he was supposed to be the backup. He was supposed to be the backup guard. Now, instead, that soft tissue injury kept Scruggs out against Cincinnati, pushed Seth McLaughlin into the starting lineup, and now we get to see who Scruggs really is in his first preseason debut Saturday versus the Commanders. And Dan Campbell plans to start him, obviously in the game to get the first look. So Campbell needs, for Juice Scruggs to, quote, kick off some of the rust. And then for Scruggs, we need to watch the operation of how he is working with Jared Goff and the rest of that offensive line, identifying the front on the defense, making those protection calls, delivering clean snaps is super important. Had some issues last week during practice. Communicate with the guards, and then keep that interior pocket clean. McLaughlin put useful game tape, already together versus Cincinnati. It wasn't clean, but it was useful. Now, Scruggs gets that same opportunity, and he isn't just trying out to fill in for Cade Mays. He is the center right now. He needs to show this Detroit Lions staff that he can take control of the position until Mays returns. Hold on, I got to pop up real quick. All right, good to go there. Number 2, and let me know. I put out a couple of posts early this morning. Who are your top players to watch on offense? And then, of course, who are your top players on defense versus the Commanders? And so right now we're doing offense. Start putting in your top players. Juice Scruggs, very, very high, tippy top of the list for me. And then Seth McLaughlin. But Josh Dobbs, he's at the top of that list too, man. So that's why I put those 4 players in there. Dobbs, Altmaier, McLaughlin, and Scruggs. And so far, it looks like with 43 votes, Seth McLaughlin is the number 1 player that y'all are interested in this morning. And I would agree. I think between those 2 players, that's the most important position right now for this offense to get a stranglehold on. The receivers, we're going to be fine, but I do have several identified receivers that I have questions on because we've got some bubble players, and now Dave Phipp kind of threw a whole wrench into the deal. Tay Martin. Tay Martin's number 2 for me. Maybe one of the biggest roster risers in the last week. Really started against Cincinnati, but he played 30 offensive snaps in that game and 7 more on special teams, including a 14-yard reception during the late touchdown drive. And those were all great moments for him, but we need more, right? He has continued to make plays even since then during practice. He has received first-team offensive reps. He's remained heavily involved on special teams. But how much of special teams can he really contribute in? Dave Phipp simply put it as this: Tay Martin's jumped off the film every day. Well, what about the rest of the guys? Campbell also pointed to Martin's ability to produce on offense and special teams. So right now, where is Martin in that hierarchy of that 5th, 6th, dare I say 7th wide receiver? But that is the path to the roster. It's special teams, because you're not going to be giving a 6th receiver a ton of options in a game. He's not going to be, a massive part of the game plan. So they need someone who can play on kickoff, on punts, blocks, cover kicks. Enter the offense without limiting the playbook. And so this week, I'm watching for these 4 things with Tay Martin: his route detail, his blocking in the run game, contested catchability, and most importantly, the assignment discipline. Now, we're not going to know the plays, but we can definitely see how he's interacting and if it's working or if it's not. Martin already looks like a special teams player that we can use, but if the receiver in him continues to develop and show up on Saturday, then that roster case for him, that bubble might pop and he might move up a little bit. Next one is not really a surprise. I wrote an article on the gentleman I believe yesterday I released it. Dominic Lovett. By the way, if you guys are owed coffee, I'll get it out here soon. I totally forgot. So my bad. Dominic Lovett's Cincinnati game showed exactly why you can't evaluate preseason football from a box score. Okay. There's a lot going on here that I could unpack, but I can't spend all day on one player. Lovett led Detroit with 8 targets. And so on the face of that, you're probably wondering, all right, is he the most trusted receiver? It is not Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Isaac Tesla, or Gibbs, when he's out there as a receiver. And to a lesser extent, Isaac Tesla, because receiving that amount of targets means that quarterback probably has a better relationship with you. The question is, what relationship does he have with Jared Goff? And how is he going to react on Saturday with Josh Dobbs? The problem is he only caught 3 of those 8, and he had a pair of drops. There were some good routes. There was some legitimate flash in his play, but there were also, like I said, the drops and a muff punt that he ended up recovering. So the receiving opportunity is still there. But again, we're talking about that 5th, possibly 6th receiver that is not going to get a lot of game action. The return job may not be as clear for him right now, as Dave Phipp identified Tom Kennedy and Greg Dortch as the primary punt return options on the squad. With Lovett still working into that mix, somehow, that's yet to be seen. And that changes this whole roster equation, because if Lovett doesn't win a job outright, he needs another reason for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes to keep him. What is that reason? Well, it has to be special teams. So against Cincinnati, the route running did show up. Against Washington, the hands need to show up. The ball security needs to show up. And those are the 2 most important things that I'm looking at for Dominic Lovett. The talent, it's not really a question anymore. I think he has the talent. It's consistency. And if we know anything about Dan Campbell this year, and one of the major things that he is focused on, it is consistency. He wants to see that these players are doing the same thing day in and day out, and that they're producing day in and day out, because you need a player, the leader of that offense, Jared Goff, to be able to trust you. And without consistency, that T word doesn't happen. All right, number 4, Seth McLaughlin. Look, he entered Cincinnati as one of the biggest question marks and had one of the biggest evaluations. He was kind of thrust into starting as center, and he left with a little momentum. He played 39 offensive snaps at center. He showed some of the traits that the Lions have been developing in him. But we have to be honest here. McLaughlin only had a few days with Jared Goff. He wasn't getting any of the first team reps with Jared Goff until Cade Mays went down. So how much better is Seth McLaughlin tomorrow than he was last Thursday? And I'm just going to say, I think my guess here is that he's going to have a massive improvement in his game. One of his better reps came after his initial block was finished. He kept looking for work and came over to help Christian Mahogany. And that's what you're looking for, man. You're looking for a guy that has good awareness. He knows where he's at and how to finish a play. Campbell praised his quickness, his intelligence, his ability to play with leverage. And those are all real things that you're looking for against bigger defensive linemen, especially for a young guy that's, coming off of a major injury that he did. How developed is that lower body? Jared Goff even said that McLaughlin, quote, didn't miss much of a beat mentally during practice. During practice is what I added. But now Scruggs gets that start, right? Does that remove McLaughlin from the competition? Absolutely not. They're just giving Scruggs an opportunity to get some more reps, because that's what it is right now. He has not had a whole lot of opportunity. He didn't play last week, and he didn't have a whole lot of opportunity in practice before that because he wasn't in. He was injured. McLaughlin has already shown that he can function with the starting group, but now we need to see that motor really turn. Now I want to see him stack those days, as J-Mo says so well.
Stacking.
And the 4 points I have is anchor against the power, keep those snaps clean, communicate, and then 4th thing, get to that second level in the run game. The Lions need more than just a center it can trust. McLaughlin has to take the chance to make himself a very difficult cut. Number 5, and this one may not be as big of a watch, but it kind of is because of what happened with Sam Laporta. But Jackson Meeks, Where is Jackson Meeks in the conversation? Heading into this week before the injury happened to Sam Laporta, I had Jackson Meeks on my 53-man roster. I think he's done enough. I think the Petsing scheme is going to involve, multiple tight ends throughout the season, that 13 personnel, and you really can't just stick with 3. You're going to have injuries. Guys are going to get banged up. They're going to need to come out for a play. Now, again, you're not running 3 tight ends all the time. I understand that. But you still need that extra guy in the eventual case that something does happen. And then there's the other side to Meeks as a receiver. So Jackson Meeks is already one of the most interesting developmental players this year, having moved from wide receiver to tight end. So the receiving value is there. And Sam Laporta's hip injury, like I said a moment ago, makes his evaluation even more important. Meeks played 24 offensive snaps last week, 9 special teams reps against Cincinnati. He caught 1 pass for 17 yards. I'm going to say that again. 1 pass for 17 yards. Now, if he can produce that kind of yardage in a regular season game, that's exactly what Sam Laporta can do. And I'm not saying he's Sam Laporta, but in the eventual circumstance that Sam Laporta is not in week 1, or maybe he gets banged up throughout the season, you need another player that you can trust to be able to extend your menu on the offense and be able to allow this offense to get more vertical. And Jackson Meeks can do that as a receiver. Now, he has continued making plays as a receiver in practice, and the Lions obviously know why the former wide receiver is an interesting option at tight end. It's leveraging the wide receiver play, combining it with some added weight, and now adjusting his skill level to play a different position. And Campbell called him, quote, a big skill player. Moving inside creates different matchups against the linebackers and safeties. The receiving ability, again, isn't what I need to see Saturday. It's the dirty work. Remember how they said that he needs to do the dirty work very early in camp? I want to see the physical side. Here's the things that I'm looking out for Meeks on Saturday. Number 1, can he block from the H-back role? Number 2, can he handle an edge defender? Number 3, can he execute the split flow assignments, which I think we're going to see a little bit more in this game? And can he stay attached in the run game? Number 5, can he contribute enough on special teams? Because that is going to be the area that I think gets him onto this roster. A 17-yard reception last week showed the receiving ability is there. Now that blocking ability has to catch up and show he could be a threat still as a receiver, as a tight end, but as a blocker for Jahmyr Gibbs. If Laporta's injury continues into the regular season, then I think that Meeks' path to the roster is much clearer and he'll be locked in. Number 6, we're going to talk about another player that is going to have a big first debut for the Lions, and that is Josh Dobbs when we get back.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from UperLights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights, with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit UperLights.com for all your UV flashlight needs, with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from UperLights.com.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell who wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right. Let's get into number 6 here on the offense. 7-on-7 players to watch tomorrow versus the Commanders. Number 6, well, that is Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs had almost no prep before the Cincinnati game. He was only there for a couple of days. He mentioned that yesterday during his media opportunity. The Lions signed him just 4 days before that game and gave him 22 snaps. Dobbs completed 4 of his 8 passes for 32 yards, took 1 sack, and ran for 9 yards. I mean, not a bad outing on a very limited playbook. He didn't turn the ball over. That's checkbox number 1. He also didn't produce enough offense to settle anything. Well, we didn't expect that. We just wanted to see the guy be functional. Could he actually play? Absolutely he can. Saturday is a bit different because Dobbs has had more time with Drew Petzing in learning this offensive scheme. And Dan Campbell has already named him the starter. Now, the word starter doesn't mean anything. It just means that he's getting the first opportunity to go show what he has. Dobbs and Altmaier are both expected to split the game time equally first half, second half. The Lions already know Dobbs is very smart. He's very experienced. He's a vet. But now they need to see what he can do inside this offense. Now, I need to caution you because just because he's had another week, to be inside this system, as he mentioned yesterday, he is still nowhere close to being up to speed within this playbook. This playbook is going to take some time. Altmaier has been here since day one. Right after the draft, Altmaier was in OTAs. They didn't do the rookie camp or whatever, but shortly after that, he's been here since day one learning what Drew Petzing wants him to do. So the most important things I need to see out of Dobbs tomorrow, number 1, can he get the play call out, right? Can he set the protections? Can he recognize the defense? Can he deliver the ball on time? And then will he only use his legs when necessary, or is he going to run around too much? And then most importantly, protect the football and not throw the ball to the other side. Last week was about surviving, with only 4 days of prep, really 2 days of prep. This week is about command, and I think that's a big word for him going into the week. This is Dobbs' first real chance to show why Detroit made him the backup quarterback after Teddy Bridgewater decided to retire. Number 7, we're going to piggyback off of Josh Dobbs. We're going to go to the other quarterback in Luke Altmaier. Now, Altmaier's first NFL game had a little bit of everything. He completed 13 of 22 passes for 130 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. However, most of that production came late in the game. The first quarter and a half that he didn't do much. So he threw that first pick when the ball bounced off of Isaac Tesla. That was more of a blame on Tesla, not Altmaier. The second came when the Lions were trying to steal the game late. That was on Altmaier. But Altmaier also led that 12-play, 80-yard fourth quarter touchdown drive and finished it with that 24-yard score to Tariq Black. Most importantly, the stage didn't look too big for him. Altmaier looked comfortable. He was just playing ball. So that matches what Dan Campbell has been saying throughout camp. They like this kid. They want to see him grow. Dobbs starts Saturday, but Altmaier should get roughly half the work, like I said, and that means the evaluation now changes a little bit. Is Altmaier going to be able to do what,
Stacking.
J-Mo always says, that he needs to stack some days, man. And right now he needs to stack games. Recognize pressure. These are the options. These are the things that I'm looking for out of Altmaier. Number 1, recognize the pressure faster. Number 2, get off the first read when it isn't there. He needs to get those progressions locked in and keep moving, keep moving before those legs move. Keep the offense on schedule. Finish drives, protect the football. Protecting the football is obviously the most important thing for any quarterback to do. Altmaier doesn't need to prove that he belongs on the NFL field again. I think that he's already proved that there is something there. He needs to prove that he can stack those days of good football. The quarterback room looks settled when camp opened. Obviously, that changed. It isn't anymore. And so now we're looking to see, is he on the bubble? Is Dobbs on the bubble? And where does this head after this game? Luke Altmaier, I think he's going to do all right, man. I think we're going to see a better game out of him. Now, as I promised, we have some bonuses today. We have bonus players that are on the bubble. And the first player is because of Dave Phipps. On the bubble, number 1, wide receiver, Tom Kennedy. Now, Tom Kennedy had a very quiet Cincinnati game. Not much came out of the guy. 25 offensive snaps, though. Wasn't targeted a whole bunch. 1 catch. And out of all of that, for 5 yards, it didn't show the Tom Kennedy that we're used to. But then he did what Tom Kennedy always does. Every August, every single year, this guy makes another play. Right? He's always making plays. He caught a touchdown from Jared Goff during the Lions scrimmage, and is now directly involved with Greg Dortch in that punt return competition and conversation. Dave Phipps said it best. You have to be able to do more than just be a part-timer on offense. You have to be a full-timer on special teams, and you need to be damn good at what you do. So this is where I'm watching Tom Kennedy on Saturday. We know who he is. Obviously, securing the punts has never been a big deal for him. Or securing a kickoff has never been a big deal for him. But now we need to see, does he make the right return decision? Does he create field position for the lines? He's always done that. Can he still do it? Then, can he show that he can still enter the offense and execute from multiple receiver spots? Kennedy has survived these battles before because coaches know what they are getting. They trust Tom Kennedy. He has to prove the reliability is still valuable enough to be able to make the roster. He's never made a roster before. Will 2026 be the first year for Tom Kennedy? He's on the bubble. We'll see if that bubble pops. I think this is my last bubble. Tariq Black. Now, Tariq Black only played in 16 offensive snaps against Cincinnati last week, and only one of them really mattered. Altmaier found Black for a 24-yard touchdown with 1:35 remaining in the game. We finally got on the board, right? It was big. Black also played on 7 special team snaps, but not much came out of it. The touchdown got his attention. Right? The touchdown got Dan Campbell's attention. I think it got our attention too. But it hasn't won him a job. Not even close. Martin, Lovett, Kennedy, and others are all fighting for that same limited roster space that is really not available. So for Black, the next step in his development in this game against Cincinnati is complete football. Number 1, can he separate? Number 2, probably the most important thing, it's the blocking. We know no block, no rock. It's always been a thing in Detroit. Producing on special teams. And he has to give the quarterback a reason to find him again. The touchdown put him on the radar. But now, Washington is going to determine whether he stays there heading into the very last week of camp. That's my Rock 7-on-7 read. I'm sorry, that's the Rock 7-on-7 players to watch on offense with a couple of bubble guys. Now I'm going to give you my final read. Cincinnati gave the Lions our first look, right? Washington is about to stack good reps. Washington is about stacking good reps and correcting the bad ones from a week ago. Dobbs finally gets his full week of prep and a start. Altmaier has to show that his debut wasn't just a one-game flash, but we need to see a lot more consistency throughout the game, making plays, changing the downs on third down and moving those sticks. Scruggs, he's getting his first opportunity at center, while McLaughlin has already shown that he can function with the starting group. And that receiver battle, man, it isn't going to be decided by who catches the most passes. Absolutely not. Tay Martin, Dominic Lovett, Tom Kennedy, Tariq Black, they're all competing for jobs that require special teams. The Lions know who its starting receivers are. We know who the 4 or 5 receivers are that are safe. Saturday is just about finding who can be trusted behind them. And are they going to make the practice squad? Or is there going to be an opportunity for some of those guys to be on the vet squad? Notice how I didn't say Cedric Wilson this week. I think that Cedric Wilson has done enough throughout camp, but now we need to see him in the game produce a little bit more. He's been ahead of all the other guys, but now it turns into a real competition in week 2 of the preseason to see where he can excel and make this a final battle royale, if you will, going into the final preseason game. Take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to break down the defense. But before that, I'm going to get into the chat and see what you guys had to say. Maybe. I think I deleted a scene. Whoops. We'll be right back. Attila, no cheating, man. I just saw that.
No respect.
This guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f I'm talking about?
Sorry, I was messing with some buttons back there trying to figure out where I put everything. Oh, what a mad dash this morning trying to repair OBS. And I save everything too. Like I have everything saved, but apparently I don't know where a file is. I have so many files, it's not even funny. It's crazy. It's crazy. 12 terabits of bull crap on this computer. All right, so let me wind back a little bit. Apparently Attila's cheating this morning, and he's voting for Hunter multiple times with his burner account. All right, Attila. I see you now. I see you. Who else had anything to say? So give me your rundown on offense. I don't know if I saw it really in the chat. Who are the most important players on offense for you guys to watch? I mean, we know who you voted for, right? It was Seth McLaughlin. But put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. 1 through 3 if you want. Just put the last name. Who are your top 3? Who are your top 3? And I mean, did I get it right? I mean, are these the players that you feel have probably the most to gain? Between Altmaier and Dobbs, really, it's not about as much as gaining. I think it's just really settling in and showing us as fans, but most importantly, the staff, like who's in front of who at this point. Altmaier's still going to have an edge with the playbook, but this is where Dobbs' veteran, savviness will take over. He's played football for a long time. He's been through numerous, playbooks and offensive schemes. So I think that this is where he can stand out and he should have a really good game. Now, the difference is neither of these guys are out there playing with the number ones. I mean, we're going to get a few starters out there, but I highly doubt we're going to see J-Mo and St. Brown and Gibbs and, it's not going to happen. So, and if it does, I'd be shocked. But you're not going to see those guys out there. So you got to remember, too, that when, these quarterbacks are throwing to essentially fourth stringers, outside of Tesla being out there or Dortch, you're throwing the ball, the third and fourth stringers and guys that aren't even going to be on the roster. So there's a lot of development that needs to happen, here. And then Altmaier and Dobbs over the last week, getting a lot of work with the ones. How much time are they really spending with the twos? Well, Altmaier has been spending a lot more time with the twos than what Dobbs has. So that comfort factor for Altmaier should be better. Why am I saying that? Because if his comfort level is better, which it should be, and Dobbs has a better game, that's an important development. Because if Dobbs has more comfort with these players and is able to deliver the ball and move the ball downfield, but Altmaier struggles, I think that's huge. And I think that kind of tells you why and, where Dobbs makes a lot of sense as the number 2. We still got another couple weeks to go, and we have 4 more practices after this, and then it's cut day, man. And we'll be live throughout the day. A lot of times, action doesn't kick up till later, but we'll be live throughout the day, watching what happens. We'll be doing some pop-ups and some mini streams throughout the day. Tomorrow, I have 1 ticket for the Washington Commanders game to sit with me at the game. If somebody would like to go, if someone does want to go in this chat, then you need to stay in because I'm going to give it away at the end. And at the very end, you got to put your hand up. You got to tell me that you want to go. And then we'll do like some sort of a number to kind of give it away. All right. First and foremost, if you're a member and you want to go, you'll get first crack at it. I'm have to because I always do that. But if you're not a member, you're also included, man. If you want to go, just put it up, tell me. But if a member says they want to go, then we'll be more than happy to make that happen. You just got to meet me at the game. McLaughlin and Dobbs and TK85 from Major. Edge says, I want to see Tesla have a big day just to shut the idiots up. Look, Tesla's fine, man. Like everyone has a little bit of butterflies in the game. And I think that we all have to remember too that, Tesla's taken a primary amount of his snaps with Goff, right? That's where he is. So his comfort level with Goff, and I explained this the other day, man, like quarterbacks all have different throwing angles, arm angles, velocity, timing, rhythm. I mean, it's all different, right? And last night, I didn't do an inside the den breakdown, but last night, did you guys hear the one thing that Goff said that I continually talk about, especially with the receivers and especially with the quarterback and the tight ends, and the running backs too? It's the landmark. You heard Goff say that last night. He said, hey, J-Mo and Tesla, go work on the landmark thing. Whatever. He said something very similar to that. Or go work on the landmark thing we've been working on or whatever. And so that tells you that they're still developing that continuity and the consistency on the offense for whatever play that they're running, right? So landmarks are huge. Timing is everything in this game, especially in this offense. So I thought last night's Inside the Den was great, man. I thought it was fantastic to get an inside look at Jared Goff and, his childhood days. Like, man, does he not sound the same exact guy back in high school that he is today? I mean, just smart, witty, pleasant, thankful. I mean, just a good dude, right? And then we hearing from his coach in how, Jared Goff was like this leader of, consistency. Like that was a big thing. It rubbed off on the coach, but it also rubbed off on the rest of the team. And that's one of the biggest things that I've always backed Jared Goff, but that is one of the biggest things that Jared Goff brings to this team. He's the same dude. Same thing for St. Brown. He's the same dude every single day. The same work ethic, the same consistent ball placement, the tight window throws. You even heard that from his coach way back when. He was making receivers better. And he said that, the tight window throws were making plays happen. And so the whole thing last night was fantastic. Kind of ended weird, but it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't watched it. Kurt, what's happening, man? All right, let's get into the defense, man. Let's just do it. This one's not as long. Still long enough. You might be surprised with my number one. And these are not really in that much of an order, I guess, but they will be when I put the article out. Same players, just a little different order. So again, 7-on-7. I got to reset and do this real quick.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right, we have the Commanders game coming up tomorrow, and it is 7-on-7 time. This time we're going to be doing the defense. Who are the most important players for you to watch from the Cincinnati game to grow in the Commanders game? Some are going to move forward. Some are going to move backwards. Some get plenty of snaps, but they may not separate. Others barely played last week. Some are going to play more this week. Washington is a different animal. Just like I said about the offense, this is going to be a much different, just like I said about the defense, this is a much different offense that you're going up against. And so Washington is where I think the math begins as far as the roster, because the edge room is very crowded. The linebacker room is very crowded. Even the cornerback room is fairly crowded. So injuries have created some new opportunities in the secondary, especially with Rakestraw. And there may not be that many reps left. We're down to 4 more practices and 2 preseason games. So these are my 7 defensive players to watch. And of course, we're going to have some bonus bubble players for you. We're going to start with number 1, linebacker Joe Bacci. Joe Bacci is right in the middle of Detroit's final linebacker competition. He played 27 defensive snaps last week against Cincinnati and another 14 on special teams. He also recorded a special teams tackle. I know, woohoo, right? But yeah, he recorded a special teams tackle, and it's important, right? But in the kicking game, I think that's where his work is really going to matter. Bacci is competing with Eric Hunter, Troy Reeder, Amin Agambagmiga, almost had it, for very limited space. The difference is experience, and that's what Bacci has. He has a ton of experience, and he can play the mic. He can communicate the defense. He can handle the green dot if the Lions need him to, especially if Kelvin Shepard, needs him to do something other than special teams. Bacci's experience takes over. And that experience alone, though, it's not going to win the job. That room is pretty locked down with the 6 players in front of him. So Bacci showed that the special teams floor that the Lions expect is there. He has it. Now we have to add that defensive value. So what am I looking for out of Bacci in this game? Well, got to get that front lined up, man. I assume that he's going to get some green dot work in this game. He's got to be able to fit the run. 3, he's got to be able to handle the coverage. And 4, he has to finish those tackles. I think the most important development is if those younger linebackers that have more athletic upside than Bacci find some answers on Saturday in their play, well, then Bacci could get edged out. But I do see Bacci as being a vet squad opportunity for this team. He was mentioned, by Dave Phipp and others, that Bacci is a player to watch. So Bacci is my number 1 player to watch right now because that linebacker room has a lot of unsettled answers, I think, after your top 5 linebackers. And that's my biggest question. Are the Lions only going to keep 5 because they're playing more nickel? Are they really going to keep 6? Is there a potential to keep 7 because you don't want to lose a player like Eric Hunter? We'll find out in the coming weeks. But let's talk about the second player on my players to watch for this defense, which is number 2, Derek Moore. Derek Moore didn't play against Cincinnati. He was still battling injury, that groin injury that cost him the majority of camp. So his preseason really starts on Saturday. And he's kind of coming in hot, man. He's coming in like a Scud missile into this game. He's had a couple of decent practices. He's been stacking too, and since he returned, he has put together his best stretch of camp so far, which is really his only part of camp so far. But the Lions have used him off the edge. He's been reduced inside as a 3-tech. He's run stunts and twists, and they've also let him attack with speed to power off the edge. This week he's produced multiple sacks and pressures in practice. Moore said that the preseason can help him get back into the rhythm and see a different competition after missing a couple of weeks. The pass rush is easy to watch, right? We know it's there. The power's there, but I want the other downs. I want to see how he performs. So here are my top keys for Derek Moore to watch on Saturday. Number 1, setting a hard edge. That is the most important. Number 2, handle those pullers, right? The pulling guards. Number 3, get off the run blocks. Number 4, keep his gap. Number 5, show the Lions he can play before 3rd down. If Moore can handle early downs against the run, his role gets much bigger than a designated pass rusher, which so far, that's what he's been. Number 3, in this week's 7-on-7 is edge, Eric O'Neal. I'm a little mystified on Eric O'Neal and just kind of where he belongs in this whole conversation. So I need to see more. I need to see more out of Eric O'Neal. Eric O'Neal keeps making plays throughout practice. And against Cincinnati, he was involved in 38 defensive snaps, and he beat the protection to hit Joe Burrow. He forced a 3rd down incompletion. Then he came back to Allen Park, and he kept that motor running. Pick 6 in the intra-squad scrimmage. Say that fast 3 times. A sack in the next practice. And now we're wondering, what's the special teams production going to be? Detroit isn't trying to figure out whether O'Neal can make a play. They're trying to figure out, the one question is, where does he fit? And how many plays can he make other than defense? Can he hold up on the edge against the run? Or can he fit inside the teams and be a 4-phase player? Can he play from multiple alignments? Where's Eric O'Neal going to finally end up? Can he function outside as a linebacker in certain packages? Can he keep producing on special teams? Can he carry the transition from practice to the game? That's a big difference. Last week, he got to Joe Burrow. This week, he needs to show that those plays weren't just a one-off, that the playmaking fits into a role that this defense and Calvin Shepard can actually use on game day. Number 4, another edge, Anthony Lucas. Anthony Lucas put in 50 defensive snaps against Cincinnati last week, and that was about 71% of the total defensive plays for the day, and the largest workload of any edge defender for the Lions. Right now, I think that Calvin Shepard needs answers on just who Lucas is. At 6'5", the length and the athletic ability are very obvious. The next step is turning all of those quality traits into snaps and those snaps into impact. Again, Cincinnati gave the Lions a very large sample size without defining, any one play that changed the competition. But again, Washington is that next opportunity. So here's a few things that I'm looking forward to out of Anthony Lucas. Number 1, use the length. Power those tackles, right? Keep them off of you to be able to get to the ball carrier. Number 2, set the edge, the most important thing in the run game. Number 3, has to create some sort of quarterback pressure without giving up his zone, without giving up his gap, without breaking his assignment. Number 4, show a counter, an inside move, something. When the first move is stopped, he needs to be transitioning right into another move. Number 5, it is special teams value. Where does he belong on this squad? Because the Lions have given him plenty of reps to make a case for himself. And now that he has to give them a reason to continue to do that, but also to keep him on the team. Number 5, we're going to get into another linebacker right when we get back.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from UperLights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit UperLights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from UperLights.com.
All right, let's get into number 5, another linebacker, Eric Hunter, man. He has taken the Lions fandom by storm. He was on my list last week, and obviously there's a big reason as to why. He's kind of back for a different reason, though. And I really don't know how to better explain it than, the 43 defensive snaps that he put out, the 12 special team snaps against Cincinnati. I mean, it was good. It just wasn't enough for me. He showed the athleticism. There's no problem with that. But he also made some big rookie mistakes. And I think that's the major reason why he's back on the list this week. Look, Campbell praised Hunter's work ethic, the athletic ability, and the willingness to take all the coaching. But now we need to see some of that cleaner football work show up. At linebacker, one bad fit can become a 30-yard run, right? One bad moment of coverage could turn into a touchdown in the red zone. And on special teams, one missed assignment, as Dave Phipps said, can become 7 points or a botched punt, and the ball's going the other way a lot closer to the end zone. Hunter doesn't need another highlight to prove his upside. We know the upside is there. He needs to remove the plays that get a young linebacker cut. If the flashes stay and the mistakes go away, then this competition changes very fast. The question is there room for another linebacker? Who do you cut if you have to keep him? Who do you cut? The only 2 players that are on the back end of this list right now would be Malcolm Rodriguez, and I hate to say it, but Damone Clark. And both of those players, maybe Trevor Nowaski, but all 3 of those players have huge upside in special teams, and all 3 of those players can play defense, and Trevor Nowaski definitely can be the mic when needed. So I think it's a big-time uphill battle, and I think right now he is a lock for the special teams. or I'm sorry, for the practice squad. But will he clear waivers? That is the question and the risk that both Dan and Brad are going to have to answer in just about 10 days. So we'll keep our eyes out tomorrow and see how he plays. Number 6, Tyree West. Tyree West only played 4 defensive snaps against Cincinnati. Just 4. That tells me that he's on the bottom, very bottom of that room, and I think that's the story here. Other defensive linemen played 30, 40, or 50 snaps. So maybe Tyree West just hasn't been able to really, get a stranglehold on this defensive playbook just yet. He didn't get enough work in to change that position or availability for this roster. Washington is about forcing his way into that evaluation for Calvin Shepard. The defensive tackle room is getting very tight, and it is very deep. Skylar Gill-Howard played extremely well against Cincinnati, and another interior defender that really has been flashing in camp. West really needs to make his limited opportunities matter, and I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more from him in this game. Here's the things that I identified when going through some of the tape this week. Number 1, his pad level was way too tall at times, and I think that is the one of the biggest reasons why he's losing opportunities. He's getting pushed around. He needs to play with lower pad level. That's number 1. Number 2, kind of piggybacking right off of that, if you're not able to anchor and stay low, to the ground, low center of gravity, you're going to lose your gap control. Number 2 is holding that gap control. Number 3, surviving double teams. This is something that every defender has to go through. Every interior defender battles, and for him, he's losing the battle. We need to see him survive this week. Number 4, create interior displacement when he gets one-on-one opportunities. Like, that is the biggest key to seeing a defensive lineman earn a roster spot is, are they able to move these guards or tackles back and win the battle up front? You can't win a roster battle from the sideline. West first has to earn enough reps to make Calvin Shepard and Dan Campbell continue to watch. Right now, West is not even near the bubble, but I thought that he was valuable enough to at least put him in as number 6 on today's list because I want to see more. And then after today, I think that tells us kind of where he's going to end up. Is he even going to make the practice squad at this point? Will this be one of the very few draft picks that have been cut by this team since 2021? I think he would be the 2nd or the 3rd. He might be the 3rd in 6 drafts that gets cut by this team. And that's incredible because that doesn't happen on other teams. They're cutting multiple players every year that they seem to draft. Number 7, this is an unlikely one, and it's one that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. Cornerback, Iko Boydo. Now, the reason is because of Ennis Rakestraw and that injury. I'm expecting that Iko Boydo is going to get a little bit more work this week. He wasn't on the field against Cincinnati, so he didn't give us an opportunity to evaluate him, right? He wasn't a Lion yet. The Lions signed him on August 16th after injuries continue to hit the secondary. So right now, we might get our first real opportunity at just who this guy is. He has NFL experience with Kansas City and recent UFL experience that at least give him some valuable upside. But none of that changes the biggest challenge. He has had less than a week to learn this defense. Kind of what Josh Dobbs has been facing, but it is a lot harder for a guy that really doesn't have a lot of experience having to learn a whole new defense. So watch the mental side first is kind of where I'm at with Iko Boydo. So number 1, things to watch, handle the motion. Can he stick with it? Can he make the right adjustment? Can he hand off players accurately and make the right decision? Number 2, communication. That is key. Number 3, understand the zone match rules. Again, those handoffs. Number 4, pass routes. Passing off those routes correctly. Like I said earlier, I kind of got ahead of myself. Number 5, play outside with constant safety help or without constant safety help. Number 6, has to contribute on special teams. Iko Boydo is, again, he's kind of like Tyree West, where he has a very limited chance to make this roster. But if there's any length of time that Ennis Rakestraw is going to be out, then I do believe that the Lions are probably going to keep another player. But my bubble guys might solidify that answer. And there might be an opening, again, if Rakestraw is down. So Boydo doesn't have time for a 3-week learning curve right now. He has to perform. And he has to perform at a very high level. Saturday is his real audition. Because the next week, it's pretty much over. Now, we have a couple of bonus guys on the bubble. And this next one was off my list last week on the top 53. And that is primarily because of Ennis Rakestraw and how well that he's been playing. And because of Nick Whiteside and how well he's been playing. And that is Khalil Dorsey. Khalil Dorsey has only played 16 defensive snaps against Cincinnati. We know who Dorsey is. His value has always been on special teams. And he's always been a major contributor on special teams. I mean, he's an absolute psycho weapon on special teams. The question is, can he play defense? Dave Phipp made it clear. Again, players at the bottom of a roster need to help more than just one phase unless they are exceptional special teamers. And that is where Dorsey has proven himself. He's proven himself as a special teamer. But now he needs usable defensive snaps. And he needs to show Kelvin Shepard that he can absolutely play defense. Here's the things that I'm looking for out of Dorsey this week. Stay in phase vertically, right? Tackling on the perimeter is number 2. And then handling those zone responsibilities and trading off the routes correctly. If Dorsey can be trusted as an outside corner, depth, while maintaining his special teams value, then I think his roster case kind of changes a little bit more if there's any, like I said, length of time to Ennis Rakestraw being out. Skylar Gill Howard is also my bubble watch, even though I don't believe he's off this roster right now. As I mentioned last week in my 53-man, Skylar Gill Howard made it as that 5th defensive lineman, 5th defensive tackle. And he was also the last player on my 53 to add. So this week I put him on the bubble because I want to see more. Look, again, being on my roster last week earned another look. And for me, I love this dude. I think he's absolutely amazing. Listening to him, yesterday when he was getting the defense all riled up before the game, that is a rookie leader right there. And that is totally unexpected out of a rookie. Most rookies put their head down and go to work. Skylar Gill Howard is out there showing that he can be a leader. And Gill Howard played 38 defensive snaps against Cincinnati and generated 3 pressures. One more thing on that leader thing. If you remember during the interview that I did with Skylar Gill Howard, maybe go back and watch it. He mentioned that when he first shows up into a team, he does put his head down and he goes to work. What changed in Skylar Gill Howard? Why did he get loud and boisterous and vocal with the team very early into his time in Detroit? I think that is a measurable difference of where he's accelerated his growth early on this team. Something has changed with Skylar Gill Howard, and it's a good thing. He's also had one of Detroit's best effort plays of the week last week. He chased Josh Johnson down from behind after initially being held and then helped force Cincinnati to settle for a field goal. And that's a very important development in this game because the one thing that I have prided him on is his speed and how fast he can get out to the sideline. But being held and then being able to get to the sideline and to cut Josh Johnson off before he gets to that first down, those are big-time plays. Campbell later identified that chase as one of his favorite plays of the game. So if you don't think that Skylar Gill Howard is not on the tip of Dan Campbell's tongue right now, he absolutely is. Last week, I wanted to see if that interior quickness would translate, and it absolutely did. It did big time. This week, what are we going to see out of Skylar Gill Howard? I want to see the rest. I want to see more. Here's what I'm looking for out of Skylar Gill Howard this week. Number 1, surviving those double teams. He's a little bit smaller. He's only about 280 pounds. But utilizing that speed and that quickness, it even proved against Cincinnati how he was able to shed a guard instantly to get into the backfield. Number 2, keep those guards out of his chest. Now, he doesn't have the longest arms in the world, so that means he has to use his speed. Has to play with a low center of gravity. He has to be able to get that first contact, that first punch, and beat the guard. Number 3, hold the gap against the direct runs. Number 4, keep creating pressure. After the offensive line adjusts to his first move, that is where Gill Howard needs to come in with that second move. Pressure is going to get you attention. We know that. Run defense is going to get you on the field in September. Here's my 7-on-7 read for this week versus the Commanders. Look, Cincinnati is starting in, the real separating factor for this defensive roster. Washington could push or should push the process a lot further for who's going to move up and who's going to move down this week. Derek Moore's finally getting some game reps. We need to see him perform. Eric O'Neal keeps making plays in camp. He needs to make plays in the game. Anthony Lucas has been given a huge sample size. Now it's time to produce. And Gil Howard, he's already produced. We just want to see that next level. Linebacker competition, well, there's a lot about special teams and defense right now that needs to get answered. Versatility matters. Special teams matters more. But neither one replaces a dependable defensive football player. Cincinnati showed us who can flash. Now, Washington needs to show us who we can trust and who's going to finish. And that's your 7-on-7 defensive update of the week.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right, thumbs up, thumbs down on this week's review. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and in the chat. We're getting better at it. And each week throughout the season, I do what's called the pregame huddle up or the pregame breakdown, which, by the way, if you guys remember, some of my very first content was called the pregame tailgate. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Somebody else does the tailgate now. A thought just came to my mind. So I started interviewing fans and whatnot before games. And then I kind of transitioned away from that because we were always late. I was always late. And I was always having some sort of an issue with my devices back then because I was new. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Now I have a real camera and some real equipment. And so this year, I think we're gonna amp it up again. We're gonna get at least 2 tailgates in this year. That's the goal. We're gonna get at least 2 tailgates in this year. I would love to do them for every game, but these are gonna be bigger events. We're gonna try to pre-sale some tickets. You'll also be able to pay when you get there. And the reason why we charge is because I'm putting big money down for good food, like real food. You know what I'm saying? Like good stuff, not like hot dogs. And we might have some burgers. We might have some dogs there for people that really want one. But I'm going to have some really good food there. And we're going to try to do a whole setup so that we can get like a podcast rolling and have some merchandise and stuff like that out there for sale. And some unique stuff, not just like show merchandise, like some pretty unique stuff, for your fan collection that I'm working on. The one big thing that I was trying to work on, which I can't say it because, again, someone else will probably try to steal it. I'm hoping to get it done this year. I'm trying to get it manufactured right now. There's 2 major items that I'm making that nobody else is doing. And I think it's going to be a massive seller. The problem is time and really was expense because I really needed to invest about $10K into some more equipment. But right now I'm trying to get it done with the manufacturer. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we can pull it off. Let me look at the schedule real quick. So week 7 against the Green Bay Packers, we should have a tailgate for that game. Problem is we don't have a lot of late afternoon, evening games. And with what I'm doing, I need time to set up. I hate to do one on week 16 in the middle of winter. We'll see. But let's just plan on Green Bay for now. we'll do one big tailgate, and we'll get that. We'll plan on that. For at least right now, we'll do Green Bay. If I can pull off some smaller ones, we'll do it. But I really want to show what a real fun tailgate should be like. And there's some amazing tailgates out there. Like the Blue Crew always does a wonderful job. And then some of the guys that when I first started doing the pregame tailgate, there's some guys in Lot 5 that do an amazing job. And I'm going to try to go over there probably for week 7, if it makes sense. But getting permission to be able to, so you can't grill out in that lot. And I don't necessarily need to grill out because I have other ways of, the food that's going to be ready. Like I'm going to make everything fresh and then pretty much just get it hot. And then fire some things off in the wood-fired pizza ovens, and I'll probably have a little grill there too. Just depends on what food I'm doing. But I'm thinking about doing like a really good gumbo, like a chicken, sausage, and shrimp gumbo. That'll be one, because that's super easy, super good, but super easy. Kind of like an appetizer. And then I'm probably going to do the chicken pesto pizzas on naan bread. It's a naan crust. They take like 30 seconds to cook. And we'll have all sorts of drinks that you can purchase, donate to, because I can't sell it legally. I don't know. I'll have a full menu out before the game, but it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be good stuff. Probably do the barbecue chicken pizza too. Like that thing was badass. I did last year. So plan on the Packers, and I will put out some pre-sale tickets. We're gonna try to do one bus trip this year. Look, no one's getting in on the action early and purchasing tickets. So I'm gonna try to partner up with some people next year. And then I run out of time, man. I need people to help. I need volunteers to make calls and to help kind of just navigate some of these things every year. But I'm also going to a lot of the away games that I pay for myself. Germany, trying to work on that one right now. Miami, Arizona. But Germany, I ended up having to leave that Tuesday from Miami to fly out to Germany. I said that yesterday. And like that wasn't that bad. I mean, it's a couple grand, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I probably should have done that one versus Arizona, because all three of those are going to be very expensive. Like we got a huge house on the lake or on the canal for the Miami game for 10 people. Massive house. But my kids are, there. That's the most important reason why I'm doing Miami, because I get to spend time with my kids and go to a game. Otherwise, Miami's going to be hot. It's just going to be a hot game. I'm not excited about that. I don't like the hot heat like that, unless I'm on vacation. So anyway, biggest winner today for you guys, 31 votes, Skylar Gill Howard. Tell me why. Tell me why. What did he prove to you? What did he prove to you last week? Kurt, see you up in there, man. How you doing, dude? You doing okay? I don't know the whole story on your health, man, but whatever you got going on, bro, like, I wish you nothing but the best, dude. Really do. Let's transition to that. Are there any members that want to go to the game tomorrow? Put your hand in the chat if there's any members that want to go to the game. You're a jerk, Attila. Says, Will, your dad was super cool and funny. You must take after your mom. Oh, that's hilarious. Ass. I've never known my dad to be funny, to be honest with you. I thought I was the one being funny, where he was telling you about the what was it called? Legs up north, and trying to tell you about this restaurant. That's funny. My dad was telling him about this restaurant called Legs, and how they've got really good like Polish Hungarian food, and so as he's explaining it, I'm like, dude, don't trust my dad. Like, this is straight up like a nude bar that you're gonna end up going in, and you know, and I was just being funny. So I was laughing, he was laughing, dad was laughing, I think, but yeah, I've never been there myself. Never been. So I really don't know what it is. K-Biz, just tell your wife to call me, man. I'll just tell her to call me. I can sell her on anything. I promise you. What's SGH? Oh, Skylar Gill Howard. Oh yeah, I got you now. SGH. I just got to start calling him Gil Howard because saying Skylar Gil Howard multiple times in a row is pretty tough. Like there's some days, man, like people don't I mean, they don't realize, you know, when you go through things, I mean, some people do because they've had some health issues, and I never wish, you know, any bad health issues on anyone, but you know, I had my neck cut open twice, first for the neck, second for the cancer, and I have never been able to swallow correctly, and so like when my laryngeal nerve was damaged, and I was just started the podcast. And you can hear it. You can see it on the first shows. You can see the big bandage and so I've never really been able to swallow right after that. It's like even water. Like when I get up in the morning and take a drink of water, take my medication, sometimes everything just gets stuck, and it is the most crazy, unnerving, scary thing ever when you can't swallow. It scares the shit out of me. Because it's like, oh my God, am I choking? Like, am I going to choke? Am I going to choke? And then 10 seconds later, it finally goes down. But that's why I yawn a whole lot. Because one, I think my medication, the levothyroxine or whatever, I just, I get tired in the evening, and then I'll be up all night. It doesn't make any sense. But when I talk a lot, it's overworking all these muscles that have been cut. And so that's why I yawn a lot. Bunch of mannequin legs. The leg lamp. Legs in. Oh, Rather Be knows it. Legs in. Place great food. Up on the Tunnel of Trees. See, I've never been to the Tunnel of Trees either. I'm going this year then because I planned this little trip for Megan and I to go do an overnight. And she probably won't listen to this one, so I'll tell y'all. We're gonna do the boat. What's it called? The Badger or something like that. It leaves out of Ludington or Muskegon, and then it goes across to Wisconsin. What's the city over there? What's the city? Oh, hold on. I got to check my door. I just got a package. Hold on. Be right back.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
We got hats in the mail. Man, these ones fit so much better. So I usually wear a 7.5. And when my first one came, first of all, it didn't come in plastic. It was just in a box from New Era. And it didn't have the moisture thing in it. And so I told them, like, what the hell, man? Like, what, you just sent me a package with really out any packaging? And so now this time they must have listened, because they put everything in plastic. And by the way, right now on lids, or even I think it's just lid or New Era, these hats are on sale for $30 right now. And I'll give you guys a discount code right now, app20. If you go in and you download the New Era app right now, I don't get any money for this. App20. I don't know how long it's going to be eligible, but you get 20% off even on clearance items. So I ended up getting the Salute to Service one from last year. And this one is called, I don't know, something cap. So it's all a whole bunch of hats on it. But it fits so much better than the 7.5 did. So I'm excited now. I'm excited now that I got a hat to wear tomorrow that will actually fit and be new, because I've been waiting to get hats this year to kind of hear what everyone was going to say about them. Because every time I order new hats, I go through like 5 or 6 hats before I get one that fits. Or fits and feels right. But much better job on this hat. All right, so anyway, the Badger. Yes, that's there's these trips, these overnight trips. And so anyway, I was going to take her on a little cruise overnight, because you leave at night, you get there, within like 4 hours or something. But I want to go like do a star watch, so you can be up on the deck, you can bring sleeping bags, you do whatever you want. And so we're going to go up on the deck and do like a star watch, all the way across the lake. But I was trying to marry it up to when the leaves were changing, and the leaves are already kind of starting to change up north. For me, that's a couple hours north. So it's, towards the end of like September-ish is when I want to go, try to get closer to peak season. But then on our way back, I'm going to go over to Legs. I don't even know how far it is away. I haven't mapped it out. But if the leaves have changed, then I want to do it. I think that'd be kind of fun. She likes that stuff, man. And as much crap as I put her through with football, which now she loves, going on trips and going to football. So got to always do something nice for her. She does a lot. She's a great person. So anyway, do it, man. It's only like $130 or $180 for 2 people. If you're not bringing a car, which I'm not bringing a car, there's no need to have a car. Pop in a hotel, Uber off the boat, or walk off the boat, and go to the hotel, and then kind of tour around the city a little bit, get some food, and and head back the next day. How do you store all my hats? I have like 40 and have tried nearly everything. Now they're just tossed in my closet on the shelves. You know, I don't know. I mean, like I have hooks. So like this is the hat that I got the other day. I was trying to find another brown hat and this one don't fit. But now it's going to go right back in that box and it's going back. Cuz I tried to wear it the other day. It ain't going to work. I was going to order some felt stickers, and that's another thing. Like if you have a hat that doesn't fit right, you can order these felt strips that have adhesive on the back, and you can tuck it on the inside of that little lip. So one, you can't see it, but it'll make the hat fit better. But I'm not even going to go through all that. I just was hoping that the 7 3/8 would fit, and it did. So back to your question. Look, I have hats up on a shelf. Like Eric was doing he's putting together something new for his background. I think he's putting all of his hats up behind the background. But yeah, I think the best way to store them is just to get some of those hat savers. You know, I don't because I wear them so much that they stay in good condition. The biggest question is how do you clean them? You know, how do you clean them? That's why I have to order so many hats because, I have doubles or triples of things just because sweat. You can't stand it. And you wash a hat and they're done. But anyway, final questions of the day for everybody. Robbie, I had Meeks in my offensive one. I had Meeks in my offensive one. What are you looking for out of Meeks? What is the most important thing for you? Me, it's the blocking, really. I mean, I think that we know that he can catch. Obviously, the trust with Jared Goff is a totally different thing. But I need to see the blocking. I need to see him be able to, kind of be a mix of a Brock Wright and a Laporta where he can kind of do a little bit of everything, if that makes sense. And I think he can. I really think he can do a little bit of everything. I need to check my journal right now and see if I'm live because I tried to fix that. Can someone go to the DetroitFootballJournal.com and see if it's actually showing the live show? Because I don't see it, but I'm also logged in as me. Huh. I don't see it. Very interesting. All right, we'll do a quick scan here, see if anything else has popped up. And then I'm out of here. All right, we got a final update here on Rakestraw. He's going to be fine. It's just a lower ankle injury. Expected to be not serious. And we don't have any press conferences today, so we're not going to hear anything directly from the team itself. At least I haven't seen one scheduled at all. But according to Dan Miller, he's still TBD for tomorrow. I don't think they're going to play him. I think that would be unwise. But if they really feel like he's on the bubble for some reason, then he might play. Don't forget, in 4 days, rivalry uniforms are going to be released. I'm waiting to get some uniforms for that. Did anyone say they want to go to the game one more time? Yeah, I didn't see it either, Major. I don't know what's up, man. It's supposed to be going over there, and it's not. Let me go back to my studio and see what is going on. I'll edit all this crap out anyway. It's just can't see it unless I'm live. It says that it's offline. Why are they all offline? Hold the phone. Did I not start all of the channels today? I'm an idiot. So I'm not live anywhere right now but here. Well, that's why. All right, I'm going to do a quick test. Let me turn off that one. I'll turn off this one. I'll turn off that one. Turn off that one. And let's see if it pops up now. I've never seen it live, so I don't know how it functions, man. These are just part of the things you have to learn. I still don't see it. All right, nobody's raising their hand to go. Does anybody want to go to the game? I need some thumbs up in the chat for if anybody wants to go to the game tomorrow. Peter says, I would, given the talent at cornerback room this year, I would be worried if I were Rakestraw. Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's good, man. Like he's literally been one of the best players in camp. And I'm not biased. I mean, I think you know me by now. I'm not biased at all. I think that he's been solid. I mean, you got to remember too, he's going up against JMO, he's going up against St. Brown, and he's really done a good job. He's not perfect, but look, those guys are going to make plays. And, you know, even if you can limit them to 60%, 65%, you know, completion rate, you know, or I'm sorry, 55% completion rate, not the quarterback, but the, you know, the players themselves that you're going up against, like Amon-Ra St. Brown and JMO. That's, I don't know how much more you can ask for. But for a guy like Rakestraw, who's definitely the third, would be the third corner, if not the fourth. I mean, even if he was the fifth, like who's he going to get matched up against? You know, he's going to be matched up against, you know, the second tier wide receiver. And depending on injuries and depending on formations, it could be the third tier wide receiver. I don't think that they're going to put him in the nickel or the slot. There is one player I did forget to throw on my sheet this week. And I think that Roger McCreary does deserve a second look. Now he's on my roster from last week, my 53. And I think he's just, like I called him a shower, not a grower, I guess. Grower being training camp, practice. Like I don't think he does as well in camp or practice. I think he does better in the games. And that's kind of what happened last week. So this week, you know, going up against better competition, and it's still not popping up. I think that that's where, you know, I need to see McCreary a little bit. As far as this week's unofficial 53, I didn't see any major changes this week other than Dobbs being in front of Altmaier. Which is interesting that there was no real changes. And so I think that kind of leaves us, right where, kind of right where we are. The one other bit of information that I didn't go over, which will be in the pregame huddle out later on today, is which players are going to be starting against the Lions. And from what I've gathered so far, it sounds like the Commanders are going to be starting a fairly good amount of their starters. So looks like Johnny Newton's already out because he suffered a pectoral injury. He already had surgery, so he's going to be done for the year most likely. Or he'll be back way, 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 way late. Nick Allegretti had some tightness in his calf, so they pulled him out of practice. The imaging on the injury was clean, so there doesn't appear to be any long-term issues there, but he won't play. And Trey Amos, the corner that I really loved out of last year's draft, he's recovering from an ankle sprain, so he's trending up, but he won't play. According to a quote from Quinn, he did say, quote, a good amount of starters, end quote, will get some playing time. Rashad White missed Wednesday's practice with a hamstring injury. Did participate on Thursday. He won't play. So that doesn't really leave us with a whole lot of answers, but I think it gives us an idea. All right, I'm going to get out of here unless someone wants to go to the damn game. J-Rod, have a good day, man. Get you out of a wedding? I'm possibly. Got to find somebody to go, otherwise I'm going to post it. So you can text the show 313 podcast 763-2278. You can text me later on today if it's something that you would like to do. If you want to go to the game, the first person that responds, I will give you the ticket. Otherwise, I'm going to post it to see who wants to join. And I know a lot of you aren't even in the state, and that's it. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great rest of your day.